my name's Imogen. I'm the operations manager at care4calais, based in northern France. So we are supporting between 1,500 to 2,000 refugees currently, living outside in really horrible, terrible conditions across Calais and Dunkirk. So we work with refugees primarily to support them through the donations of direct aid. So we support through distributions of clothing items, of food items for people to cook themselves, and sleeping items. We also have a huge warehouse here where we process all of our generously donated items, and we have teams of volunteers who work really, really hard to sort those and make sure that they're good for people to use. We also provide essential services, so we run phone charging stations, we offer bike repairs, we offer hot drinks like tea, coffee, hot chocolate, we run a game station for people to play football, cricket, Jenga, and we also offer to sew people's clothes if they've got small holes and tears, just so they're able to keep an item for a little bit longer. And then we also offer hairdressing services, so we take along lots of hairdressing equipment. People are able to cut their hair, have a beard shave, and just be made to feel a little bit nicer in what is a terrible situation. So at the moment we're seeing, as I said, between 1,500 to 2,000 people across the week that we're supporting. They're living outside, they don't have access to basic services or human rights. We're seeing the police move them on every 48 hours, their tents are being taken, their belongings are being confiscated. There's a huge turnover of items here. It's a real hostile environment for people to live in. So support we provide is essential to allow people to essentially stay alive, but also to have a little bit of dignity in a really terrible situation. So many of the refugees we support are from countries like Sudan, South Sudan, Eritrea, Ethiopia, smaller Eastern African countries and West African countries, and then we also have populations from Kurdistan, from Afghanistan, from Iraq, Iran, Syria, as well. So we're supporting a huge number of people from a range of different backgrounds. They've all left their homes because of incredibly dangerous situations, perhaps war, perhaps persecution by governments. They found themselves in Calais trying to get to the UK to seek asylum. There's currently no safe or legal way for people in Calais to seek asylum in the UK. And we've seen over the last few weeks some incredibly sad instances of deaths on the UK border here in Calais, people who are just desperate for a better life and seeking safety. We saw just yesterday over 1,000 people cross the channel in a record daily number, but everyone there was risking their lives in very small boats, and unfortunately we know that 3 people are missing in the channel, and the search has been called off. So the situation we're operating in is incredibly dangerous. It's incredibly sad, and there's just no safe and legal way for people at the moment to reach the UK, which makes it very, very difficult. What we do need is fantastic teams of volunteers and donations to come out and help us support people living here. So we have people who come over to Calais to volunteer with us from as little as a day to however long you can commit to. So you'd help us sort donations in the warehouse, you'd come out with us on distribution, you'd meet people, you'd have conversations, and you'd help support the people living here. You can sign up to volunteer by emailing Claire at care4calais.org. We can send you all the information you need to come over. And we're also really looking for donations. So at the moment we're really looking for winter coats. The weather in Calais in the winter is absolutely terrible. We believe it's going to be below freezing by the end of November here, and everyone we support is living outside. So having a warm winter coat to keep people dry and warm makes a really huge difference to their lives. So we're really looking for coats for people to donate, and lots of other items like tents and sleeping bags that we can use to support people living here in Calais.
Thank you, Imogen. And just I wanted to know, when refugees are coming here from long way from Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and Africa, how many days they're roughly staying here, and how long it takes to go to UK? I mean, by boat, by vans, or anything else, roughly.
Yeah. Exactly, so it can really, really vary for people. Most of the people we see are here at least for a few weeks at a time. It's incredibly difficult to get to the UK, so people are forced to live outside in really horrible conditions for weeks or even months at a time. I have been working in Calais now for over a year, and there are people here that I see every single day who are still here after the whole year that I've been here. So it really varies, but it's definitely a few weeks or a few months at a time.
Right. So about the majority of the people in Dunkirk and Calais, can you let me know more information? What kind of people they are living in Calais and
Yeah.
Dunkirk?
Yeah, exactly. So in Dunkirk, we think there are probably between 800 to 1,000 people living there at the moment. The majority population is Kurdish, so that's people from countries like Iran, Iraq, Syria and Turkey escaping really dangerous persecution against their people, leaving very, very dangerous situations behind. In Calais, we see a much larger population of people from Sudan. Obviously, we've all seen the news about what's happening in Sudan at the moment. There's a really horrible war happening. People are escaping real persecution there. We're also supporting people from Afghanistan who are primarily living in Calais at the moment. They are obviously people who have left just before the Taliban took over, but also we're now seeing people come through who have left since then. A lot of people have left families and friends behind, and they're very worried about what could be happening there.
Yesterday, you told me that the tsunami of Afghan refugees they didn't come here yet. What do you expecting? When do you think that they will arrive here? And what type of majority? What do you think? I mean,
Yeah, so we usually see people arriving maybe a few weeks, a few months after a situation has evolved in a country. People make incredibly dangerous journeys just to get to Calais, often on foot, often without any transport, so it can take people weeks and months to arrive. We are expecting to see an increase in the Afghan population, perhaps over the next weeks or definitely by the end of this year. The people we're expecting to see are people who are escaping persecution by the Taliban, so perhaps they have worked for UK organisations in Kabul or in the wider Afghan area. They don't feel safe anymore. Their family are under threat from the Taliban, so we're expecting to see many people coming through from there.
thanks, Imogen. Can you let me know about child refugees and women and girls? How do you support them? What's the majority of this child and women refugees? How many?
Yeah, so we see on average each week maybe 30 to 40 families across the sites we go to. So that's women with children as young as 6 months old. Some children we meet are 8, 9, 10 years old. They've travelled with their families from the countries I've mentioned, but primarily from areas like Kurdistan and Eritrea. So we support them through the donations of material aid. So we support with clothing, especially important for children to have warm clothing that's going to keep them dry, as they're often living outside as well. We provide shelter where we can to people, so tents, tarpaulins, blankets, sleeping bags, and we also support them through the use of hygiene products, so for women, sanitary products, and for the children, things like nappies, children's hygiene products like toothbrushes, toothpaste, things that they need just to get by every day.
Thanks. One more question about French police. What's the situation of the police, French police with refugees here in Calais
Yeah.
and Dunkirk?
So we are seeing a real increase in police presence here in Calais and Dunkirk at the moment. The actions that we see from the French state and the French police are all done in coordination with the British government and the British policies as well. So we see a real impact of British policy making here in Calais. The British Border Force fund the French Border Force here in Calais. Their policy is to try and stop people from crossing to the UK to make it as difficult as possible. So we see the French police visit sites every 48 hours in Calais, taking away people's belongings if they've left them behind. They often change what time they do that each day, so people are often caught unawares and do lose things like their tent, which is their only shelter, perhaps their clothing, which is often the only clothing that they have, and we've even seen people lose phones and paperwork as well. We're also seeing a real increased harassment by the police towards refugees. We get lots of reports from people about violence from the police, especially at night time, especially as that's often when people are trying to cross to the UK. So there's a huge presence here, and it's all related back to the British government and the policies that we have there.
Thanks. And the last question, promise, about COVID. What kind of support do you refugees can get? Vaccination or anything else? Can you let me more about this?
Yeah, of course. So for us here, we are very, very careful not to take the virus and COVID out to the people we support. They don't have the same access to water, sanitation or to healthcare. as we do. So we do see cases of COVID among the refugee population that we support, and we work very closely with an organisation here called the First Aid Support Team, who provide advice. They also check people's symptoms if they approach them out on our distributions. We do believe that the vaccinations have been offered to some refugees here in Calais, and there has been a small uptake from some of the community. However, Calais is an incredibly transient place, so people do not expect to be here for a long time. There's also a real distrust of the authorities here who are providing the vaccinations. So it's something that we talk to refugees about, but obviously in the grand scheme of everything that they're doing at the moment, there's a huge number of things on their list to worry about.
Thank you very much, Imogen.
problem.
Thanks for Care for Calais.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.